3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
5, 4, 3. Every time.
No, I didn't do it that time. I did not.
That's right.
I didn't count. I was totally aware of it.
We're getting better.
Screw you, man.
I lost it.
I did it right.
I lost it. I think in my mind I was like,
welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
Off to a good start.
Whatever. At least you're here. Listen.
Them or me?
Both.
Whoever you are.
Yeah.
Thank God the two of you are here.
Thing on?
Yeah, awesome.
I've been slacking on my jokes because I'm off of Instagram. So I'm not looking at that dad says anymore. Yeah. And I'm dry, man. I'm dry on jokes. Yeah. I got nothing.
That the one I told you earlier, the toucan one.
Yeah.
I saw that one. There's that new movie with The Rock and Emily Blunt, the Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, it's well, it's soon to be available on Apple, I think, or one of the streaming services. Yeah. Disney. You can,
I think you can purchase it on Disney.
Premier Access, you can watch it, but you can also just wait. I'm just gonna, because I'm already paying for Disney Plus, so I'm just gonna wait until it's.
I think they're actually gonna end up doing away with that Premier Access thing because it's costing theaters a lot of money. And like ScarJo is suing Disney for her contract was based on the money that the theaters make. And I don't remember what the exact numbers were, but it's like, let's say in theaters and Black Widow came out, it made 120 million over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Disney made an additional like 40 million off of the Disney Plus.
But they don't have to.
But they get to keep that.
They don't have to pay her because it wasn't theatrical.
It wasn't theatrical, and theaters are like,
that's just
we just lost more money.
So I would argue. And who is Scarlett Johansson suing?
The only thing I heard is Disney.
Okay.
So
in my opinion, that suit will make nothing because the judge will look at that and be like, Disney didn't do anything wrong here. Yeah. You made a contract based on a situation that was a poor agent, bad projecting, forecasting on your part. Like, you just came out of a pandemic where streaming services clearly revolutionized the idea of what a viewing experience can be. Yeah. And the consumer spoke, just like a stockbroker doesn't get to sue the stock market when you buy a stock and it doesn't perform the way you wanted it to.
Right.
So I mean, and who knows, maybe she has a good lawyer. This is just, I know none of the details. I know much about this information based on your shoddy recollection of a half-baked thing that you heard. Exactly. So my opinion is now based on the degradation of information that you just brought to me.
Right.
So maybe her lawyer has a case. Maybe she does. Maybe there's a lot of more facts to this. But if I'm looking at it, I'm like, hey, like, you made a bet. You didn't get what you thought. If you had been smart and been like Jason Bateman, and like Jason Bateman is crushing it because he's made deals with all these streaming services to create original content on things that would have never made it to theatrical release, but are now being released direct to these platforms, and he's doing great. And so I've been listening to Smartless, their podcast. Sean, what's his last name? Just Jack from Will and Grace. I can't think of his last name. And then Will Arnett. Yeah. And it's really fun. It took me a while to kind of get into their groove. Ooh, hungry. But Bateman's always like asking the question of some of their guests, like, hey, do you think you could parlay that idea to one of these streaming services and take it direct to market? Hey, that's a great idea. Don't you think that would be a great thing to pitch to one of these streaming services? Like, he's constantly like, and Will Arnett's calling him out on it. Like, Bateman, do you have like some sort of agreement with these streaming services?
That was a good Arnett impression.
Thanks.
That sounded pretty good.
He does the best Dax Shepard impression. Oh my God. So funny. But yes, so I'm not going to go ahead and lose a whole lot of sleep for Scarlett Johansson. And
it's also one of those like, oh, darn it, you only made 7 million instead of 9 million.
But in playing the flip side of that, good on her as a representative of that side of the industry to not allow precedent to get set that actors or whoever gets screwed. Because I'm sure downstream there are other members of different unions and guilds that also are making contracts based on the expectation of revenue from theaters who are starting to get screwed.
Right.
So if she can be the advocate for those with this suit,
right.
well then yes, that's the way the system
long
of checks
term,
and balances.
if nothing happens with this suit, it does now set the precedent for
better contracts and stuff. And so in that, good on her.
Yeah.
I'm sure, I think she got like, she's had bad press before of something like she's, too vocal and something. But in the same token, like she has power.
Yeah.
Good on her to take that power and use it to make sure that the checks and balances of the system are in place. So that's cool. And I'll tell you,
make sure those key grips get money too,
Well, seriously, like
the key grips and the best boy grips and the
when those people went on strike in the
that's right.
Whatever. But the industry realized like, oh, right, the actor gets all the money, but they're just the talent. The shit doesn't get made without the people doing the behind the scenes grunt annoying work. Like, that's how the magic happens. It ain't fucking magic.
Yeah.
Like it takes work.
In which case, let's thank Disney and Marvel for now setting the standard of having a post-credit scene. Otherwise, we would never know who those people are.
Very true.
I now sit through the entire credits.
Oh, I don't. On the streaming service, I just click the 10 seconds ahead and I just draw it until I see, and then I go back. And so I still skip it.
I should do that.
Yeah.
I should do that. Anyway.
So I still cheat and I don't actually know who all those people. I just appreciate them as faceless, nameless, and they make sure that I'm constantly in a state of convenience without actually having to do any work. Thank you for my privilege.
Cheers. Perfect. Thank you. Let's cheers to that. Clink.
Oh boy. I feel a little dirty now. I think I may need a shower.
I do too. Want to save some time? Save some water?
Whoa.
Oh, sorry.
Hey now.
Hey yo.
What was I gonna say? Okay, so my two, instead of a joke, I'm gonna say my guilty pleasure, or like Apple Plus, Schmigadoon.
Oh, Schmigadoon.
It is.
Show?
Yeah. So Jordan Peele.
Oh
God. Did I mix the two names of
Jordan Peele's tall?
Yeah. Okay, but it's Peele, right?
Jordan. It's
his partner.
Yeah.
His creative partner, who was Thing and Peele.
Yeah.
So
Key and Peele.
Key and Peele. So it's the Peele side of Key and Peele. And he's done a ton of good work, whatever, but he's in it. He's the lead actor, and Cecily Strong is the lead female actress,
awesome.
actor. They're both doctors. They're in a relationship. It's, 3, 4, 5 years in, it's kind of right at that cusp. Do we get married? Do we not? They're on this like couples retreat to kind of save their relationship. They're fighting, and they cross this magical bridge, and they're in a musical.
Okay.
And they're legitimately in a musical.
Okay.
And it is over the top, like, oh, this is corny as
This is a show or a movie?
Show.
Okay.
It is on Apple Plus.
Okay.
It is amazing.
Okay.
It is amazingly self-referential. It is amazingly like alluding to all the musicals you would know, even like in that, like referencing like, okay, what do I need to know about musicals so that I can make the right choice here?
Right.
It is breaking the fourth wall constantly.
Awesome.
It's a little bit dark in like, it's making fun of sort of like 30s, 40s, 50s depiction of women, and women always being like man hungry and just looking to get married.
Right.
It is also like super well cast and diverse in its casting, and then referencing like, wow, look at how, of course, they've done such a good job of being diverse in the casting. And like the mayor is gay, and it's played by who played the guy in X-Men who can flash like in
Quicksilver? No.
Like he's like, and it was one of the first ones where he played like kind of the like lizard looking guy.
Yeah.
That actor, I can't think of his name.
I'm drawing a blank
It's like Nathan something, not Nathan Lane, but like Nathan. Anyway, you'll recognize him as soon as you see him.
Yeah.
Ton of like some recognized faces, some not recognized faces. Fred Armiston. Yeah, Armiston plays a role. So good. And here's my whole point of that. That Lasso, like Apple TV is kind of crushing it. Their interface still sucks.
Yeah.
The drip release coming back.
Yeah.
Like I love that.
Yeah.
I love the way Disney is doing it. That's my point of, I love that all the streaming services, Netflix tried it for a while, the hedonistic, here they all are,
Yeah,
right?
go for
Netflix
it.
and chills,
Yeah.
you know, binge, whatever. Tried to play off of our tendencies as humans to binge,
Yeah.
which we will,
Mm-hmm.
but we all overconsumed.
Mm-hmm.
And when we overconsumed, it was all gone too fast. And there was no penance. There was no like punishment to it other than it's gone. And then we're like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And they couldn't keep up with the content to keep delivering it. And so what are you left with? So now you have these other streaming services like, well, let's go back to the
Dangle the carrot.
the drip release.
Yeah.
And it's so much better.
Yeah.
Because I am so excited on Fridays, like and picking different release dates, genius.
Yeah.
So like Wednesdays,
Every time it flashes it.
Loki and that stuff was a Wednesday release, right? I think.
Yeah.
Fridays is a Lasso release.
Yeah.
Fridays is the Schmigadoon release. So I forget sometimes, and then I'll like be making dinner on Tuesday. I'll be like, I have like 3 episodes of my shows to watch.
You know what I love too with that, with especially with the Marvel shows, is that it gives a week for all like
yes,
the content creators and stuff to like, here's our theories and here's a breakdown of what happened, and here's all the Easter eggs and here's what we think it's gonna be. And I was like, and I eat that stuff up.
And you know it's in the can already. It's all done. It's not like where there used to be, if it was broadcast shows, like they were maybe 5 or 6 weeks ahead, but they hadn't actually fully finished the season before the season ended, which I'm sure has in its own right like a freshness and authenticity to it, because they're seeing the characters develop and they're watching the response to it, and so they can pivot and change. I'm sure all of this content, that's awesome, all of this content, your Avengers thing is already done. So either way, and this, what made me think of it is it will dovetail into your topic, which I'm extremely excited about. But that's my joke / gratitude / whatever. And I know I'm totally crushing our structure, but I figure we're gonna kind of spend more time on this. But yeah, I think my recommendation is Schmigadoon. So I don't have a joke for you, but I do have a joke. The lead character makes a comment about sleeping like a log, and like they react like, oh, that's so funny. And it's like, that wasn't really a joke, but it was such like dad humor. And so Schmigadoon, highly recommend it. Cool. Super corny at first. And if you just sort of watch it for surface, like you're kind of like, I hate musicals, this is dumb. Yeah, they are purposefully making it dumb. And it's they've taken sort of the best of the thing about my ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend. There was like a broadcast, or maybe it was Netflix.
My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
Yeah.
That show with Rachel Bloom? Are you talking about that show?
I think so. Okay. Maybe.
Because it had a musical feel
to it while
also being like
that was decent, but it kind of ran its course quickly.
I got.
This, I don't see this having more than maybe a season or 2 in it. But it's got some, Martin Short plays this leprechaun and he just poof comes in and you're like, is that Martin Short? Oh my God, it is. So a lot of spoilers. I apologize, folks, but that's my MO. Schmigadoon, highly recommend. Ted Lasso. If you're not watching Ted Lasso, what's wrong with you?
I don't even know.
And there you go.
Yeah. Meg's ahead of me too. He said, I'm rewatching it. I'm still like, I can't believe you went ahead of me.
So the drip release. The idea that our psychology is operating behind the scenes on us, whether we know it or not. Sometimes in front of the curtain, sometimes behind the curtain. But I feel like this tees up a topic you wanted to talk about. What was that topic, Eric?
Well, the topic was goal setting.
Oh, goal setting.
Goal setting.
I don't believe in goals.
I don't think we ever even talked about it anyway. Goal setting. Refer back to episode blah 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 blah.
What a waste of time.
See you next week. So yeah, and like backstory to this is, you and I were talking about it for listeners, is I setting a goal, and it's I've always struggled. Like I set this thing and I'm super amped up, and then motivation wanes and effort wanes and all the things happen, and then that goal just doesn't get accomplished. And I've gone down the deep dark hole of learning more about ADHD as one that has been diagnosed with it. And I said, I think I said this to you recently. I was diagnosed a few years ago. I was prescribed Vyvanse, and I was like, yay, it's all fixed. And it was cool. Stuff was better. But I said, if there's one thing that I've learned about ADHD, it's like if you can have it and you can kind of maintain, you can kind of get through.
I thought you were setting up a joke there.
Oh no!
There's one thing I've learned about ADHD. There are two things in this world. Something I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
right. And it's like,
or I should have waited. And said, "What was the second thing?" or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so sorry.
You know what's funny is like I would have done that too. It was like, oh, that wasn't a joke. That actually happened. But
I'm so sorry. I derailed that.
Oh man! But like,
there's one thing you learned.
If there's one thing. It's like if you really want to, if you maybe like, I feel like maybe I'm cool, like I'm good. I stopped taking the Vyvanse for a while, but part of that was also the process of trying to get it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I remember you were telling me that up in Bowie.
Like
and you have to...
it's one of those things where it's like treatment for ADHD needs some tweaking because that was ridiculous. And
they should take meth.
That too.
Wait, ADHD.
I
mean, maybe they'll counteract each other. I don't know, man.
Maybe they should.
And your teeth, I mean, tweaking is like tough. With
but my workouts would be bomb.
Ooh, yeah.
Sure.
For about 3 weeks. And then I think I'm having a heart attack.
I'm going to deadlift 600 pounds 5 times with my ears.
And then I'm going to clean this whole gym.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do the dishes.
I'll be laying there for the next couple of days. But it's, but
drug
it was
abuse
like,
is not a comedy. It's not funny.
But it was like at this point now it's like I have thrown 2 kids into the mix.
Oh boy.
And
you really shouldn't throw
and
your
it's
kids.
really like, God, it's just like
I'm gonna fill up on my coffee. You keep talking. Sorry for at home.
No, viewers. So you know, things start slipping and all this, and it's there's this great metaphor. It's like imagine what's the metaphor? But it's like imagine the TV's on and you have all these channels you can watch, and the TV is constantly flipping through the channels. You do not have a remote control.
Oh,
so it's like there's a ton of shows. There's a ton of shows on right now.
That makes me very
right.
So effective
it's like
metaphor.
Like it's just you don't have control. It's just on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. There's another one. It's like imagine having like bees in your brain. And it's just this constant buzzing in your brain. And so it's all this stuff going on. And so now it's like having 2 kids in the mix. I'm like, all right, things are starting to feel like they're unraveling a little bit. And I'm not sure what that is. And so again, I started kind of going down this hole. And I'm like, now it's recognizing things. It's like, oh, that's totally like what's going on. Like having this recognition of, we were talking about earlier, that's like, I know I have this thing. And I know that it presents these challenges, but I didn't even realize that some of the challenges were presented were like I can work with them and I can take them on, but it's just knowing how.
Mm-hmm.
And so and sometimes it's not as easy as like, well, you just do it. Well, yeah, when you have a neurotypical brain, you can.
Look at you using
right?
the language.
When your brain is not that way, things work a little bit differently.
Neurologically different.
Yep.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about it before too, of as you were describing it, I like that description too of yes, the challenges are no different. The obstacles are no different. We all face similar.
Yeah.
I liked you said like, well, yeah, I get distracted too. I lose focus too. I described it some way that I could understand it with PTSD.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of the same behaviors and symptoms of somebody diagnosed with PTSD based on previous trauma and physical injuries. The difference being I don't have PTSD because I don't have the ancillary, uncontrollable physiological response to the triggers that somebody with PTSD does. And so a lot of times when those triggers happen, I'm fully aware of it and conscious of it. And I can choose to do and it's hard and it takes awareness and you have to have a practice. And sometimes the practice ebbs and flows, but I can control it without chemical or other extrinsic assists.
Yeah.
Somebody with a diagnosable post-traumatic stress disorder to disorder, because post-traumatic stress is a normal physiological response to the trauma.
Mhm.
It's when it continues to, your body sustains that response despite the change in the context uncontrollably.
Yeah.
That's the, and that's an
where,
oversimplification of
like I said, and that's the difference between like,
yeah,
you occasionally have these things, you deal with it and you move on.
yes,
But like, it's a list of things, and it's affecting your daily life regularly.
you got it. And it's not a just deal with it.
Yeah.
So this
like I have a key hook inside the door when I get home. Like it's there and I can see it and I put my keys on it. But the game I play every day is where's my keys? And so it's like it's on the kitchen.
It's sort of like the game we were going to play today. Where's my tooth?
Right.
When you fall over from the single leg deadlift.
Right.
But that's where our friend and wonderful colleague Stacy Cooper says, awesome. Now we know the reason.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it an excuse.
Right.
Right. Great. I'm glad we have identified the source or the reason, or that we understand it. You don't get to use it as the excuse now. And that's sort of what you were saying. That's where you're at, is like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
How do I manage the challenges, the obstacles, the things are going to continue to present themselves? How do I manage them?
Yes.
Enter our now, no, this is great. Well done, by the way.
Thank you.
You've decided to take on an opportunity, a challenge, and for our astute listeners, you will notice I'm being very deliberate in my language choice, right? Like an opportunity,
yes,
a challenge,
yes,
not an obstacle,
right?
Not a problem,
right?
If I were to ask you that question, what's the difference between those, like opportunity, challenge versus obstacle, problem? How do you feel about those two differences?
This opportunity is something that I'm choosing. The obstacle is something that it just kind of appears, and I need to figure out how to get through.
One is you have agency, responsibility around. The other one feels like it's being done to you.
And this is where I need to go, and these are going to pop up along the way. And so
I like that.
I need to know I need to figure out, like I need to recognize, and that's part of this now process is I have this goal, and and we said bare minimum, here's the bare minimum of the goal. And now it's planning. And if there's one thing and now this is now an executive dysfunction thing with ADHD brains, is planning, not our strong suit.
Gotcha.
Ideas and like what's going to happen.
Yeah. So let me stop you real quick, and we're going to come back to that.
Yeah.
What is the goal? What are we talking about?
So here's what happened. Goal, people were talking about doing the Across the Bay 10K. So that run across the 10K. And
you may have picked up on this, folks, from the title of today's
Across
episode.
the Bay 10K. And Allie and Kate are like, we're doing it. I was like, oh, that's awesome, guys. Like, Eric, you should do it. And my impulsive reaction was, okay, let's do it.
You're not impulsive.
And in the back of my mind is like, what are you doing? You hate running. And so,
that's so weird. So the excitement of being a joiner
and that's
overwhelmed the cognitive awareness around physiologically 100%. How much you hate running.
The rush of like,
wow,
they wanted me to do it, like got me so happy that I ignored all the things that are like, you don't really want to do this.
That's some impulsivity right there. So come back to it. This is what I was going to come back to. When you talked about those two words, challenge, opportunity, how does that make you feel versus obstacle, problem? Because that's I think sometimes also the disconnect when we talk about goal setting. One of the things, and this is Simon Sinek stuff, one of the things that people don't pay attention to, and he always start with your big why. That was his, he wrote a book, he made a whole big TED talk about it. Like that was sort of his, like he popped, people knew about him, but he popped onto the spectrum or onto the scene. Know your why. Whys stimulate emotional response. What's and hows can sometimes stimulate emotional response, but they become less effective in keeping us moving towards that goal. So when you think of challenge, opportunity versus problem, obstacle, how does that feeling of owning it show up?
Initially, it's kind of, I can say it created a little anxiety because it's now I've committed myself to this thing. but now I guess the idea is now I see just all these fireworks and so there's all this like,
when you see when I say opportunity, hey, I
Yeah.
got this opportunity for you.
yeah,
It's whoo.
Yeah,
And
all
the
right,
second
cool.
you feel it as an obstacle or a problem,
yeah.
the anxiety, the
And now
boredom, the suffering, that starts to show up.
And
Right.
it's
So that bringing that out into the forefront.
Yeah.
And I would I would offer that's where there's a shared similarity.
Yeah.
The difference being somebody who is I forget the
I think
term.
it's neurodivergent. I think it's like, so
Something like
there's
that,
a
yeah.
neurotypical brain and
neurotypical. Somebody who's neurotypical would feel that, but and again, not a psychiatrist or psychologist,
Nope,
not
just
an
watching a lot of
ADHD,
YouTube.
not an ADHD expert,
Mhm.
have read a lot of blog posts and books about behavior change and those things. But the HPA, HPT, hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal, hypothalamus, pituitary, what's the T? Hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid. Those axes, the chemical, stimulated by neurological response, then chemical downstream effects, primarily the HPA. My HPA, hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal gland, is not stimulated the same way when I feel those things as perhaps yours is.
Right.
So much so that like mine isn't shut down. And this is where if Nicole is listening, she'd be like, that's not the thing, you're wrong. Like, that's not how it works. Great, listener. Call in through your reviews, leave us a review and tell us why we are wrong and what books should we read.
Or comment on the YouTube.
Exactly, to be able to have a better knowledge of what we're talking about.
Because we 100% will say, yeah, we did it wrong.
Yeah.
Thank you for educating
In the
us.
interim, I'll just make it up as I understand it and until corrected otherwise.
So with all my classes.
So the goal of running.
Yeah.
That's the goal, hence the title. We're going to put the Nano. Where the Nano meets the road. We're going to have your Nanos meet the road.
Yeah.
This is part one. Water under the bridge. All this is water under the bridge.
Water under the bridge.
Right? Great. We understand it. You know what the past has been.
Yeah.
But now we are here.
Yeah.
3 months out from the race. You've got this beautiful color-coded sheet.
Thank you.
With I do like your handwriting. It's very
Ambition childlike?
No, not at all. Like it actually I like the big ends and like the, you know what I mean? Like it's I
do that.
Anyway.
I mix my A's up too. Sometimes I do my A's like this, and then sometimes I like to do them like this.
Interesting.
And you'll see it mix and match throughout.
But the fact that you're using color coding cracks me up. Like, is that a new thing? Have you always been
a thing that
coder?
I've like, it's almost a way of kind of now, like when I'm writing notes and stuff, if anything, it helps separate, like this was colored for a reason.
Gotcha.
Like when I was in school, there's such a random structure the way I would write notes. Like when I go back, there wasn't really any of this, and there wasn't really any of this like hierarchy or prioritizing. It was just this list of things.
Okay.
So if anything, like throwing in the color now, like if anything, it helps separate this from this and this from this.
So walk us through. You said planning is not a strong suit for those with ADHD or other neurodiverse ways of seeing the world.
Yes.
How then have you gotten yourself? What is this? How is it different? There's a lot of questions in here.
Yeah.
Get us into where you were, what you went through, and now how I'm looking at what I would say is looks like a solid plan, bro.
I think so. My thought is, and I'm kind of learning this with just kind of getting stuff done in general, whether it's here at the gym or it's home. Like picking a task, picking a goal, picking a challenge. It's regardless. Sometimes it can just seem like doing the dishes. Sometimes you just feel like it just feels like this thing that just
insurmountable.
It's insurmountable, and maybe it's because there's not necessarily the end goal is get it done, but like how long is it going to take, and where are these? And like I open up the cabinets, it's like what goes where. Like Megan likes this here, and so a couple of things I figured out is take that thing and break it down into smaller things, and I think that's the thing. take this, here's this big goal. How can I make it a bunch of smaller things? So then here's a little goal, here's a little goal, here's a little goal. And each one of those gets you that new little like,
trigger.
And it keeps
a little dopamine rush.
Right. And it keeps that momentum going. And so if I say, I'm going to do the 10K and I'm just going to keep working out and I'm going to run occasionally, and then the 10K will come, and a month in, maybe 2 weeks in, I'll be like, it's just boring and suffering. And there's no, like, where's the win along the way? And so it's taking what feels like this really big thing, breaking it down in very small.
So this is two things at play
things.
here. And I'm going to still come back to
Yeah.
get how you did this.
Mhm.
Did that frame how you structured this little goal plan that you
Yeah.
have?
Because basically by, the first one is what are the goal? 10K. And I said bare minimum. It's
But
just
you're
do
pointing
it.
now at like 3/4 of the way down the page.
Yeah. So right here.
So-
So this right here, the plan. So this right here. So this is when I look at it as like, okay, I'm not great at planning and then prioritize. If anything, this is recognizing.
So is this something you made up on your own, or is this something you're learning from?
This is like I'm learning and then learning about what it is and then taking those and kind of putting into a way that makes sense.
I guess what
for
I'm
me.
asking is from those couple books you read, the couple podcasts
Yeah.
you've been listening to, like this is directions for you
Yes.
as somebody with
yes.
an ADHD brain to first list what these are weaknesses, these are challenges, these are things that usually trip you up. Do you know what I
Yep.
mean? Like, do they recommend list those first or something like that?
It's yes.
Okay.
Which is essentially coming up with a plan. Like if you're going to do a thing, you need to have a plan.
Gotcha. But
And
I guess the recommendation is you went off starting like, these are the
Yes.
things I don't do well.
Yes.
So I need to,
These are the things I don't do well, and these are the things I don't do well, but I need to figure out a way to
Okay.
make them work.
okay.
And also like knowing that these are the things that are going to impulsivity and taking on more than I can handle
Okay.
is like I know this is a thing that could be an obstacle in the way. So if
Okay.
anything, it was basically like list the things that are going to be affected over the
Yes.
course of this goal.
Okay. That's
Does that
awesome.
make sense?
Totally.
Okay,
So it
cool.
puts it right out in front first
Yeah.
of like, as you start to make the plan or
Yeah.
whatever, and you're taking on too much or it's whatever, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Remember, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Prioritize.
Yep.
It can't be too much. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. And so then now we come to the part on the page where you were starting to list the other things.
Yeah, so-
3, 2,
Hey.
1.
Shelly, shout out!
Yay!
Boo!
Hey, hey.
There she is.
You only get to hear, not see her, folks.
Yes, yeah.
That's the Patreon.
There you go. And then from Patreon. That's our
Patreon.
Patreon.
That's right.
So then it comes to the planning part. So I just asked these questions, and these are not questions I made up. These are questions I got. So where do you want to get? How are you going to get there? What happens if I don't get there?
Mhm.
And what will get in the way? So now here's the things that are potential obstacles, or here's the things that I struggle with, or I need to be aware of. Again, this is creating the awareness. Now it's kind of breaking it down even more of what is this goal actually, and then asking the question. So it's just taking this, and this is just a more broken down version of this.
Gotcha.
Where
With
now it's
specificity.
right.
So here's the deal. Everyone's heard of SMART goals:
Uh-huh.
specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely.
Yeah.
And I think my R is right there. I don't know if that's true. If it's
I
realistic.
think it's
I
realistic.
think it is
yeah.
too. This is the thing about goal setting, which always cracks me up, is everyone comes up with their new and, well, actually what you're missing is, and
Right.
really what you need to do is, and it's like, it's just the same thing. You just changed the
Just
words
changed
and
yeah.
like repackaged it. Right.
Yeah.
And you could go back as far as, oh, I don't know, Aristotle and like pathos,
guy.
ethos, logos, like more or less the idea of rhetoric is goal setting
Mhm.
because it's stimulating some sort of narrative in our brain or the way we're telling ourselves about something in the world that we want to perceive in a way that has meaning and that we see it as important.
Mhm.
That's all you're doing here. Like,
Yeah.
this is just specificity to measurable questions
Mhm.
that are actionable and realistic and timely, but we haven't really got to timely yet, but it doesn't matter, right? I'm sure it will show up somewhere in here. So if you're a SMART goals type of person, SMART as an acronym, and that's what you like and that works for you, guess what? Go ahead, stop. Unless you want to keep listening to us.
Sure.
It works.
It works.
If you're a Simon Sinek guy, girl, who likes to only think about the why and the psychological motivation, great. Watch his stuff, read his books, and it works. It works.
Yeah.
If you're a James Clear, Atomic Habit type of guy, stacking, we haven't talked yet about the idea of habit stacking, smallest, you did though, smallest, most repeatable thing. And I would loop back to that. If you could also tag that with something you already do.
Yeah.
So, you like to receive validation externally from people.
Yeah.
So if you could somehow tag that validation with the next step of the thing you need to do, like when you do this thing, you automatically receive the validation. So like you get shoes or you get a run, you automatically get a good job, right? The good job cookie, whatever it is. I guarantee you that's the James Clear stacking.
I like the good job cookie metaphor. That works for me. That really works for me.
And maybe it's just the automated text. That's where automations work, and they work because we are monkeys with our grapes.
Yeah.
What's your one grape?
Yeah.
And fuck that cucumber. I want the fucking grape.
And so
if you don't know what I'm referencing, I wrote that blog post a while back with the two monkeys, and the one monkey gets the grape, the other monkey gets the grape, then he gets a cucumber and he looks at it and he throws it back at the scientist. And he starts banging on the glass. I want my grape. It's awesome. Anyway, go ahead.
Kind of going with that, essentially the habit stacking. It's okay. I have set myself up. I'm working out at 6 a.m. So
yes.
So one of the bare minimum training for a 10K, I'm not even thinking about I need to run X amount of miles a week. I just need to show up and work out.
Perfect. The new habit is 4 times a week.
Right. And even that, I think I even just said 6 a.m. If anything, it's Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. I'm getting up, I'm going to 6 a.m. And I've told people I'm coming to 6 a.m. This is now my class. So now there's expectation that I've told people I will be there. So now it's I said I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there, which is hard sometimes. It's what
I would say too is you did a good job. And I don't know if you did this on purpose. You told me about it, and you told me about how it makes your day start better. And so, right, I'm all about singing, celebrating other people's success. That is I know for me, that's a positive trigger of, I get a kick out of it. When Drew showed up today on his bike, he's like, oh, does Eric come to his class now? I was like, yeah, actually, he loves it. It kicks off his day right. Yeah. And Drew goes, it's a good thing he's figuring it out like the rest of it. And I'm like, oh, he always knew that. It just, took a while to kind of get settled back into it. Yeah. So I'm spreading that too. Yeah. I bet you Drew becomes, so now there's another layer of, he's taking a couple months off to work on his knee stuff, but he'll be back, I think either September or whatever, or October. If you could set up 5 a.m., people know that you're going to be coming to the 6 a.m. class. You can do that hey, right? Because if there's anything about 5 a.m., they don't leave. I love you guys.
So much fun to come in because I worked out. Now they're all
they're all hanging out.
They're all charged up now.
They're going to see you showing up. Yeah. That's the habit stack, is you need and that.
Well, that's what I said. It's I 6 a.m. WOD. I get to see people and they're like, Eric. Yeah. And literally just someone saying, Eric
is enough.
And it's and then I'm like, it feels good to be here.
And so you come back to, you just triggered that obstacle of the motivation.
Yeah.
So that's where, again, like you said, this is no different than anybody else. Mm. You are you're following a plan that could fit for anybody.
Yeah.
If you know that motivation is an obstacle, then identify what is the thing that will keep you motivated when externally motivation. Hey, spoiler alert, you will all lose motivation at about the 14-day mark.
Yeah.
Some at 6, some at 18, but the average is about 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
So you basically are getting about 2/3 of the time you need for the habit to start to stick. And that's the old science. It's about 21 days, 3 weeks, the habit sticks.
Yeah.
It came from a couple of different studies. It's still true, but it's basically you just routine takes about 3 to 4 weeks for you to for it to stop being consciously unconscious, consciously
subconscious.
No, it's that's incompetent. When it's about 3 to 4 weeks for it to stop being consciously incompetent and start transitioning into becoming unconsciously competent, or even consciously competent.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. So just leaning into it, like, I like people telling me I'm doing a good job.
Yeah,
and I'm saying it out loud. I like praise.
Yeah,
we say it all the time. Write us a review.
Right.
We enjoy being recognized.
Yes.
Pet us.
Oh man,
don't actually touch me.
When Joan told me that that she met Pat Barber at the games, and she said from Fairmont Cross for something, and he immediately said he was talking about the social media.
Yeah,
and I was like really, because they cut, I don't know, but it's like I just got this.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
So she told me about that too. I think on Monday when they came back, whatever. I was like, "Have you told Eric that yet?" And she's like, "No." And I was like, "You need to." And here's the deal. It wasn't me like, manipulating. It was me knowing. I mean, I know you pretty well, bro.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I also know I would want to hear that.
Yeah.
Amy and I have talked about this. Screaming into the abyss without feedback is quite possibly the worst thing that happens.
It's a lonely island to be on.
And that's the nature of this business, is because it's not about us. It is about the other person's experience. And the thing is, in their head, they're like, that was great. There isn't that feedback of like turning and saying, that was great.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Nobody's a mind reader. Tell them, I really enjoy getting feedback of whether you liked class or not.
Yeah.
There is a way to systematize that. People in academia have figured this out. Surveys. We don't do enough surveys. And it shouldn't be like for every big event.
Right.
It should be, this is totally a rabbit hole.
No.
But we should be sending out to about 15 to 20% of our attendees every week a very easy survey of 2 to 3 questions. What workout did you come this week that was the most enjoyable? What about that workout was enjoyable or unenjoyable? If you were to guess how many times you're going to come next week, how many do you think that would be? You know what I mean? Like something that simple.
Yeah.
If in our mind, what is the most important thing?
Yeah.
Consistency. How do you drive consistency? Well, what is the things that brings people in the door? To get here, they need to be a little courageous. They need to be a little curious. But in the end, showing up is the primary thing.
Yeah.
So we don't know because we don't ask.
Yeah.
Or tell them, hey, tell me you like to work out or not. Right? Like, I get it. I don't want to hear that it's hard. I know it's hard. It's CrossFit.
Yeah.
But is there something blah, 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 blah. Anyway, digression. That's so freaking cool.
Yeah. And
I'm glad that you liked the feedback about Pat. I liked hearing it
Yeah.
for you.
I got excited.
Of course you should.
Right?
Fucking work at it. Like it's hard. Like it is effort and you put it in. People should, like, you get that. You get to have that feedback.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go.
And it's funny. And I appreciate hearing that. Like I try not to get caught up in likes and views and follows. It's cool to see, but it's such an empty thing. So when someone says
who
like
we know and we respect
means,
and want to hear it, totally.
I mean, I've had a post that's gotten like 4 likes, but someone was like, "That was great." I was like, "Oh, thanks.
That's enough."
That's all I needed. Like, so that was like, so if anything, like that's the first one is like just go to the gym. Like don't worry about logging miles. Don't worry about how much you're gonna run. Like if you just show up. Again, bare minimum, start the race. Bare minimum, get there.
Yeah.
Bare minimum, just show up 6 a.m. And like I said, I also know that it wasn't just workout every day. It was specific 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Because I could say I can work out in the evening after class, and it's hard. Like another thing, but
it's
people with ADHD transitioning
going
is hard
to happen.
And I'm not going to keep up the consistency if you've
tried that game.
Derail this. I've tried that game and it doesn't work.
Nope.
And so 6 a.m. like I'll be there, and it's one of those. It's also like knowing like tomorrow's the pause front squats. And it's one of those like my legs were like my body today was just like, whoa. And he said it was hard to get up this morning. So we'll see what the weight actually looks like on those pause front squats.
But
it's
again,
still
that's
here.
not who cares.
I don't care.
Show
Just
up.
show up.
This is the conversation I've been having with Joe and Sam and a couple other folks. And Sam, I think Joe is clicking. He's traveling, but Sam, it's clicking more than any. He asked today, what's tomorrow's workout? Today's Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday, pause front squats. I didn't know. I said, I don't remember. Let me look. He goes, actually, what he asked is tomorrow a good day for active recovery? I said, I really don't know what the workout is, but dude, come on. Any day is a good day for active recovery. We are infinitely scalable and modifiable. So I looked at it and I laughed. I said, actually, on the surface, you look at 5x3 pause front squats, quite possibly the worst programmed day on the surface for active recovery. Or you could say, oh, actually, that's a perfect day for active recovery because you could still do the pause front squats, back squats with a 45-pound bar. Just put a bar on it. And you're still going to follow the same pause sequence. You're still going to follow the same tempo, but we're going to add some mobility and some gymnastics in between the sets for you. Right. And that way, when you finish, right. And so in a sense, you should be able to, if CrossFit is a movement practice, you should be able to come 6 days a week. I want you to come 6 days a week. In that you come 6 days a week and you go at 99.9% all 6 days, we are morons. And that is not sustainable.
No.
But if we strategically pick across broad modal and time domains to vary your stimulus, I don't know, you may get some general physical preparedness, and elite fitness might follow by doing broad modal and time domains of functional movements at high intensity. I feel like I've heard that before.
We've mentioned that before. Someone's on the wall.
You've cracked the code for you looking at this. More important than anything else, consistency. And this is the other James Clear thing. What is one thing you can do that will yield benefit across multiple obstacles you've identified? So you just said it, showing up at 6 a.m. lets you not actually plan a whole lot.
No.
You don't have to plan.
No.
You've planned. It's a simple thing. It also has simplified what you have to plan. If all you're planning towards today is to make tomorrow's 6 a.m. class, what else has been simplified? You're prioritizing.
Prioritizing,
You only have to prioritize one thing.
Show up.
Eric, hey, do you want to go out tonight? Hey, Eric, do you want to, what do you have to say? No, I can't. I'm sorry, because I have to make 6 a.m. tomorrow. So all of a sudden, planning just got easier. Prioritizing just got easier. Focus, I don't know. That's outside my realm of expertise.
So I will say that if anything, so one of the things I wrote was like the benefits of doing this was also just, if I come up with this plan and with this goal, other things that have nothing to do with accomplishing this goal are going to benefit. So like just showing up to 6 a.m., like I get home and I'm in a much better headspace. I have, I have more patience throughout the day. It sets everything else up better. And so that's one of those, like, from a focus standpoint, like that first few hours, and I think it was like you're after exercise, your brain is like firing for like the next 2 to 3 hours, something like that. Yeah.
John Rady's Spark, highly recommended as a book about exercise and its impact on neurological development.
And so if anything, like aside, focus is better.
There you go.
Which, and especially like first thing in the morning the first few hours of my day it's a good time to be focused, because
would some say it is the best hour of your day?
Or the
second best hour? This would be the second best hour of somebody's day.
Right.
I feel like that would be a really good name for a podcast.
Second best hour of the day. We will have our fern.
Second best hour of your day with the fern.
I think it's just Photoshop.
Just Photoshop a fern in there.
I
don't. Do you know anybody name that in podcast? Name that anyway. So the motivated side of it, if you're coming to 6 a.m., you get to see the 5 a.m. people. You get to see your 6 a.m. people. And after it's over, You get to anchor in seeing sometimes the 7 a.m.
Yeah.
people. And in those moments, you get to be the version of yourself that actually also stimulates some of this impulsivity.
Right.
So in a sense, by only doing one thing,
I've just hit.
show up at 6 a.m. This is James Clear's like most smallable, most repeatable thing. Just show up at 6 a.m. I feel like we have said that to other people who are not neurodivergent, who are not struggling with ADHD.
Yeah.
One of the things that could best support your long-term success in establishing the habit and reaching your goals would be what? Just show up.
Just show up.
So it's kind
Easy
of cool,
enough.
right? And that's, come back to what you said.
Yeah.
Nothing we're saying here is any different for anybody else. It's just you face different obstacles or issues, and you now are aware of what those are.
Yeah.
So the plan isn't any different.
Yeah.
It's just maybe the why behind it or how to implement it might be different.
One of you has the music.
That when you turned it back on, it probably.
It did. I turned it off and tried to.
Jackie's got the music. Jackie's got the music. No.
Yep, I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. Yeah, and it's with that too, and it's funny because I hear this. I tell you, just this first part. Here's the whole podcast right here. This is awesome. But like that whole motivated thing too. One thing is, again, when you talk about things that work a little bit differently when you have ADHD compared to people that don't, it's so motivated. And some people, it's just like, I love Jocko. Just discipline. Just do it. Just discipline.
Now, when you say you love Jocko, you love him because you are scoffing at that.
I love the character of Jocko.
Gotcha.
And he's
good.
And, he knows he's made his mark. But
no, I don't know. Is he still as maybe I'm just not paying attention to that world as much, but
I think
is he still that big? Is he still getting the following? Is he still?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wonder how evergreen his material is.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I would get frustrated, and this is one of the things I'm going to learn. Like, I would get so frustrated with myself. It's like, just do it. Like, why can't you just get up and go?
Yeah.
And then it's like, why can't you just get up and do this thing?
Now it's
like,
cascade
you
of
know,
guilt,
you need to do it.
and
Guilt and shame.
guessing.
And so
shame.
ADHD gets a lot of people like, it's laziness. Why don't you just get up and do it, right? And it is this
such a projection of shame from people.
Like right now, just talking about it, like I'm getting right here.
Yeah.
And this one person said, we're going a little PG-13 here, I guess. Your ADHD and motivation, it's like having erectile dysfunction for the brain. You want to do the thing.
Yeah.
And you really want to do this thing, and you just can't do this thing.
Yeah.
And something's in the way. And it's very much like that. And so yeah, there's times I'm like, why? I know the things that I'm supposed to do. Why can I not do them? And sometimes it's that, like, just get your butt up and go. The alarm today, if I didn't set an alarm, like every morning, I think I've been waking up before my alarm. I was like, but today was a day I was laying in bed, and that alarm was just enough of a ding. All right, time to get up.
Yeah.
If I didn't have an alarm set at 5 a.m., I would have sat there and talked to myself. But like, just get up.
So how much will it help? So that's carrot. We've kind of all been like, we're talking all carrot stuff. How much would stick help? And this is sort of the positive versus the negative reinforcement. And when I say negative reinforcement, I don't mean punishment.
Right.
I mean the absence of reinforcement.
Right.
That how motivating will be the absence of seeing Marita's face, of hearing her laugh, of getting the chance to high five John and Joan and Roger and them hanging out on the benches at 5, and then seeing Julie and Sam and Kelly showing up at 7.
Because you almost start to get like FOMO, like you're missing out on this thing.
So how much will FOMO, as a function of negative reinforcement, the absence of the benefit that we just talked about, how much will that help you to get over when the alarm is going to go off again in the future, and you won't have the motivation to get up?
And that's,
does that make sense? Does that question make sense?
Yep.
So realizing like, oh, this is a good thing. Like that, okay. Are there other places in your life where you find that the need to get that itch scratched causes you to do things, right? Like seeing Fiona's face,
Yeah.
getting the snuggle with Everett, like all of those other things that like, oh, no, I really want that.
Yeah.
Is enough to make you do it. Implementing that same strategy here of no, I really want to see so-and-so will get you out of bed on Thursday.
And there's that, but it's also like going back to breaking it down to something smaller. So like sometimes just getting up and going to 6 a.m. is a freaking task.
Yes.
So
okay.
My morning is I wake up and I drink a glass of water
Okay.
and I brush my teeth. And so it's literally like,
That's
Eric, all you need to do, just like get up right now,
and drink
just
the
get up
water.
and go drink a cup of water. If you're still
Good for
tired,
you.
go back to bed. Get up, drink water. If you think you're still tired, why don't you go brush your teeth? And so like,
Good
so
work.
that's, so I'm
Give
setting
a
up
mouse
these
a
things.
muffin. Give
Yeah,
him
or
a
give
mouse a cookie. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And so I'm kind of setting up this morning routine where it's like, look, all you need to do right now is just get up, and I don't leave my water bottle next to my bed because then I can just lean over and get it. My water bottle's in the kitchen. And so it's like, just get up and go get your water.
Even the showing up at class, that was really well done, by the way.
Thank you.
Is too much. It's still too big.
Sometimes it's too much.
Which is totally legitimate. And people, Jocko, that's ridiculous. No, but I would actually, in his defense, I'd say he wouldn't say that because he would say, no, you're too big of a step. More discipline, more steps.
Yeah.
And so, because it is like, that's the thing about that world, my previous world of you break down every single step. It's actually, I'm currently writing the SOPs for each of the classes and I'm realizing like, oh God, we had it in too big of steps. So when
I'm doing the same thing with like the closing checklist. I'm like, it's too big.
It's too big. When I'm writing these, I'm writing like, okay, I said, check for gear or drift. Too big.
Yeah.
No. Stand in the middle of the gym.
Yeah. And
spin in a circle. What is the first thing I see? The boxes. Yeah. What's the next thing I see? The bikes. What's the next thing I see? The weight tree. What's the next thing I see? And that's how I'm doing it. And I'm like, oh, this makes more sense. Pick up checkboard. And it can be out of balance. Like that gets too much, right? We are not automatons. We're not monkeys. This isn't a robot, but start there and then see like, okay, cool. Because there does need to be room for the agency of like, you can't plan for everything,
right?
But you can plan for what you've done. Excuse me. What you've done here is the why. You like the validation. So does everybody else,
right?
But you're admitting it and recognizing it. So how can you then use that to exploit it to get you to where you want to go, which is standing at the western side of the bridge and hearing the gun go off and running a 10K across the bridge.
Yes.
Nice.
And this is also like just putting it out there too. Like I like that, but now it's also, this is very much that accountability thing. It's like now by putting it out there, like you all know what I'm looking for. And so it is like not that I'm putting anything on anyone else, but it's now that I've put out there, this is my thing. If I don't show up at 6 a.m., I bet I get a text from someone saying like,
dude,
hey, I missed you this morning.
Yeah.
And that'll be enough
Mr.
to be like,
Lazy Bones.
right? Which can be a double-edged sword. Like be like, all right, I gotta go tomorrow. Cause like, or it's like oh my God, people must think I'm freaking lazy and like falling off. But it's
and that's a good acknowledgement too, because then that's the other side of it in our last couple of minutes here of, because we're not done, folks. If you didn't pick it up from the title of it, this is going to be a little 3-part series of where the Nano meets the road. This is Water Under the Bridge. Chapter 1, Water Under the Bridge.
Chapter 1.
Chapter 2 will be we'll see where maybe we're not tied to a timeline.
Kind of a check in, and then we'll see other things that
but there is the negative side of that. There's you could get yourself stuck in that narrative, go down the hole of guilt and the shame. So it's worth the process is loop back. Loop back to these things that so when that happens, what challenge or obstacle that you've laid out for yourself is getting stimulated? What question isn't being asked? Might be that would be, if I'm your coach, I'm going to come back to, because I'm schooled in the tradition of collaborative coaching, meaning it is co-active. It's actually, co-active coaching, which means it is collaborative. You are the number one expert on you. I don't live in your head. I don't live in your life. I can't know everything. But what I can hear from you is the things. And what I'm looking at is clearly this does work. You've been down this road before. So what I offer is that ability to collaborate with somebody. And you've already done 90% of the work. You'll have to do the 90% of the work moving forward.
Mhm.
These seem like the right questions. And these seem like the things that, when not solved, but dealt with,
Yeah.
lead to those fireworks, to
Yeah.
those the emotional, like, whoo-hoo! And that's it. Like,
Yeah.
that gets you to the effing goal.
Yeah.
If you don't make the run, something happens, right? Let's
Yeah.
worst case scenario it. This is a trick you can play.
Right.
You break your leg a week before the run.
Yeah.
You
It'll be
will
a drag.
not be running the
I
10K.
will not be running the 10K.
But at that point, if you've been successful for 3 months, what other ancillary benefits do you think, or would you imagine you might have this outcome?
I'd like to think that my fitness has improved in the last 3 months. just
Maybe,
because I've been training more
probably, maybe
consistently.
this consistently thing works.
And like I said, the kind of recognizing these things that I'm good at, I'm not good at, get in my way, don't get in my way. And I said, and I also going down this, like, these are the things I know I'm not good at. There's a lot, and it's one of those things too. I try to be careful too, as an advocate for someone with ADHD. It's not bad.
Mm-mm.
Like, it's not bad. And I think it's
Good and bad are such ineffective adjectives.
And I'm much more aware of that too, like with kids and having like there's not good kids and bad kids. There's a bunch of different things.
Effective, ineffective, appropriate, inappropriate. And those aren't even that effective in describing. It is just what I'd hoped, what I expected versus what I got. Like, there's so many other language eventually. Sorry to interrupt you.
Good.
This is a perfect example of language eventually falls short to manifest our emotional reflection, experience, appreciation for the world that we are in.
Yeah.
And that's not mine. I mean, that's William James. That's, any of the postmodern, literary poets or, writers and whatever. Like, language falls short every single time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Buddha. I mean, that is what at some point, what is coming out of our mouths is a filter of a filter of a filter of something that we felt or thought, and even in thought is reflected in language.
Yeah.
So fine. Good and bad is where we're stuck.
Yeah.
Maybe tack on, when you say good, how does it make you feel? When you say bad, how does it make you feel? And do you want to hold on to that and keep it? Or are you willing to let that go?
Right.
And in this, I just watched you do it right there.
Yeah.
You're letting it go.
Yeah.
Good and bad, I'm letting it go.
Yeah.
Did it get me where I wanted to be? Did it restrict me from getting to where I wanted to be?
Right.
Awesome. This is helping you right now.
Yeah.
Right. Knowing these as things that you want to be aware of is helping you move.
And that's what I said. It's just the awareness of this thing that, may or may not stand in my way. And it's just knowing how to make it work for me.
Yeah.
And so,
there's something in here, and I just thought of this too. Doing this puts you in a position to have to ask for help too.
Yeah.
It makes you, and this is a little bit of the Brene Brown school of thought, it makes you be really vulnerable. And that's something I personally work with a lot of. Asking for help requires you to be, and when I mean ask for help, I mean really ask for help, not ask for help in a way that sabotages the person you're asking for help for. So when they fail, you can be like, see, this is why I don't ask for help. Not that I know anybody who does that. So actually asking for help that requires you to actually accept the help is such a vulnerable place to be. Yeah. That's sort of what you're doing here. And you're doing it in a way that I see as truly authentic.
Well, this was my way of also like asking Jack for help.
Yeah.
Just kind of like navigate this. And like I said, this is cool because I like that we kind of scratched on the surface, but like going down the potential obstacles that stand in my way.
Yeah.
Guess what's happening in a couple of weeks that I won't be able to make 6 a.m. I'll be in Georgia.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna be able to make 6 a.m. So like,
so is there worth there of now asking for help? Do you want the off the creek?
So like,
you gotta reach out to Amy. You got it right. Like maybe even you gotta reach out to the other off the creek people, or sort of what I did. I asked Todd. I told him, this is what I'm bringing. What more do you want? Do you want to do some workouts together? In the moment while we're out there, we only did 1 or 2. I think we did 1 together. I asked Matt, what do you want me to bring for you? Yeah. You know what I mean? So there are tricks to that trade of like, you still set your schedule. It's still 6 a.m. Yeah, but you're on vacation. Don't you want to be like, no. I don't exercise because I have to. I exercise at the
Yeah.
time I exercise, because otherwise by 4 o'clock, I am the most miserable person to be
Yeah.
around. And I don't like that person.
No.
So get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah.
I'm going to exercise.
Yes. And I think that, in my mind, like the obstacles what's be fun is a few weeks is now we could like, here's another piece of the story is like, how did that work out? Because my thought is like, I'm still going to work out at 6 a.m. So maybe it is like, hey, people in the 6 a.m. class, like you might have to text me and say, did you work out?
Yeah. Well, there's Sugar WOD, right? And that's also where the things like Sugar WOD help us stay in touch.
So it's recognizing that. And so again, that can be another one, like potential obstacles. And this is stuff that we'll dive down as we go.
30
So,
seconds or less, so we get you out of here. I want to be a good steward of
Yes.
your time. My second gratitude,
Yeah.
your vulnerability, brother.
Thanks.
Good job. This was really fun. Thanks for thinking ahead and coming up with this plan. But more, this is there's no free coaching here. This is, by the way, this is stuff, in my opinion, that is the most important stuff that we do, which is getting exposed and the opportunity to be a part of people's lives outside of just what they do here.
Yeah.
Like that's the experience of living. This is just the excuse.
Yeah.
The fitness and the hour we spend together.
Yep.
It's just the excuse to be able to be a part of other people's lives.
Yeah.
So thanks.
I think that's the difference too of being a CrossFit affiliate owner to like a Gold's Gym, you know, like you kind of get this excuse. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Cool. Mine too. Like, awesome. Thank you for also being open to this. Cause like I said, it's going to be like some people pay you to do this. So, and then also mine is just, today is my parents' 55th anniversary.
Yeah.
And my mom made this post on Facebook today. It was really sweet, but it was it's funny. My dad, the first date my parents ever went on, my dad passed my mom a note in class asking her out as a joke. The teacher intercepted it, read it out loud in front of the class. My mom said yes, not knowing it was a joke. And my dad was like, shit,
now I got
on a
to
date
go.
with her. And that's this, he says 55 later, joke's on him, right? But so mom and dad, so today being August the 4th is their 50th anniversary. So mom and dad,
very sweet.
55 years. It's awesome.
That's a good story.
Cool. They're great. Cool.
All right, folks. Y'all have a great weekend. And we will see some of you on the creek, on the water. We'll see the rest of you.
Maybe in the creek.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome. Cool.
Chat at you later.